Helldivers, this week we have got a major update which is going to fix some of the biggest problems that players have been experiencing over the last week. We did actually expect the update to drop today, but it looks like it's not going to happen because they tend to do their updates around 10 AM UK time. So that has passed now, so it probably will look to come tomorrow, Tuesday, and hopefully this can get the game in a much better state. Let's talk about it today. If you guys want to keep up to date with your Helldivers 2 daily news and updates, be sure to leave a like on today's video and consider subscribing to the channel, and let's get in with the video. So over the last week, especially when the last patch dropped, players were experiencing huge issues with crashing, and it was literally to a point at one point, I know they've made some server-side changes to make it a little bit better, but players were crashing constantly. Now that the people kind of know what's going on, there's been less people using the weapons, such as the arc weapons, and hopefully, I've still seen some people saying they've been managing to use these weapons and stratagems without any problems, but then there's still the risk there of crashing and losing any progress that you've made. So this is what was said last week. So they said, we have identified the cause of the freezes that many players have been experiencing, and we're in the process of building a patch to fix it that should be ready to deploy early next week. In the meantime, we advise against using the arc thrower, the arc shotgun, and the Tesla tower, as those appear to be linked to the issue. Thank you for your continued patience. So it says to deploy early next week. So if it's not today, then most likely it'll be tomorrow. They're pretty consistent with the space of time that they release updates and get them out there. I'm sure there'll be a whole other bunch of stuff that comes in with this new update. We recently had some leaks as well of the new major order, which they're saying that they're going to be releasing a new major order every month. I have seen people saying I haven't even completed the the last one that came out, the cutting edge one, and now they're already releasing another war bond. But the thing is, they're going to be always there for you to complete. So if you do want to then move on and get the new one, or you can continue with your old war bond, it really doesn't matter. Of course, it's going to get to a point where there's going to be loads of them, but that's just going to keep the game fresh for you, right? So when a new war bond comes out every single month, there'll be constantly new weapons and keep things fresh, and you can work towards anything that you like. And that's what I like about it. You're not kind of restricted to a certain thing for a couple of months. You've got a whole bunch of stuff that you're going to be able to claim. I've seen leaks as well of the MG machine gun, which is meant to be coming in a future update, and the new mech as well, which sounds fantastic. Now we're going to talk about the current state of the game and what we're experiencing with us on our new major order and all stuff like that. So it was Helldivers 2 players are trying to draw soldiers to Mantis to fight the bots, as they're facing a huge problem as the fighting bots isn't fun. I'm not quite sure about this. I don't mind fighting the bots. I think sometimes it is still pretty much as fun. I know you can't use certain weapons against the boss, but that's what I like about Helldivers, how you can choose your certain loadout for what you're deciding to fight against today. So if you're fighting against the bugs, you're going to decide to choose different weapons, and if you're fighting against the bots, then you're going to choose different weapons in that sense of things. So it's tough for Super Earth soldiers to think strategically right now. So with the current major order looking all but complete, Helldivers 2 players are attempting to rally their fellow soldiers to fight on Mantis. The issue though is that plenty of people don't fancy the fight against the robots. The current major order in Helldivers 2 commands players to liberate Zagon Prime and Fori Prime against the Terminid Hordes. Despite this, some players are attempting to draw other players away from the actual major order and help liberate planets like Mantis, which have continued to come under threat from the deadly robot forces. So yeah, there's been all of these posts over the last 24 hours in the subreddit. The posts are attempt to highlight that Super Earth's forces are losing the fight on Mantis, and if they lose the planet entirely to the bots, the entire one of the entire sectors may actually fall, seeing the galactic war effort back in a big way. So there's actually a post on the Reddit saying, we have to defend Mantis, the major order is under control for now, we should rush the Mantis to stop the breakout in the XR sector, and there's actually a poster saying Mantis needs help, defend, and someone's made a proper poster for it, and really trying to get people alongside it. And apparently there's been a huge shift of players away from the major order to do so. There's photos of it saying prediction is failing for it, and there's only 17 hours left to do so, so more Helldivers are coming. So drawing players to Mantis is turning out to be a really difficult task. The post below, for example, explains that developer Arrowhead is well aware that most players don't like fighting the bots. That's why we've only seen one major order against the bots to date. Even then, it took mechs being dangled in front of players for the major order on Tianquan to succeed. And I mean, there was this post here saying the devs appeared to have a problem on their hands. The player base doesn't seem to enjoy fighting bots. And I again, as like I said, I don't mind fighting the bots. I feel like it sort of changes, it sort of gives me a new reason to try out new weapons rather than loading into the game with my same loadout that I like and the meta that I run. So there are all sorts of responses in the comments explaining why players hate fighting the bots. One player claims that a bot dropship can withstand 12 shots from an autocannon, and letting a dropship descend on a planet and unleash a horde of chainsaw-wielding bots is pretty frustrating, especially when you've shot up the ship a dozen times. The post below, meanwhile, tries to reason with players reluctant to fight the bots by imparting some great knowledge. The player says to ditch aspects like the guard dogs and shotguns and instead go for the shield backpack option and the liberator penetrator for better shot at handling the hordes. A commenter adds that the Eagle airstrike can supposedly kill the feared hulks in just one hit. So not everyone is keen to see the continuing trend of soldiers rallying troops to other planets. A case and a point in the post below which reads, "My brother in freedom, they're playing the game, not on Reddit. Please just give it up." It's a little harsh, but sure, you can't really argue with the fact that the vast majority of Helldivers 2 players aren't trawling the game subreddit every day. They're simply playing the game and doing what they're told by Game Master Joel to complete major orders. And I think that's one of the biggest things that in gaming that some people forget about is there's a huge I actually said this in a past video, there's a huge amount of us that are on Reddit, on YouTube, on Discord and stuff like that can command and sort of get people to do certain things and say, right, we need to take over this, we need to take over that. But also something that other people don't realize is there's some real old school players out there that might not just be old school players that don't use things like Discord and don't use things like YouTube and don't use things like Reddit, and they simply just buy games that they see that look good, play it on Steam and just enjoy it in their own way, and that is literally sometimes what happens. So you're never going to get an entire player base seeing it. They're just going to follow what they see on the screen via their major orders and just in an old school way, and that's just the way some players enjoy playing the game, and they don't really get involved in social media stuff. And I guess that used to be the way, didn't it? Before, there was always YouTube, and as a kid I always used YouTube to help me out with things, but there wasn't things like Discord and Reddit back then. So I guess Reddit was around, but maybe not as popular, I don't know. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything that's going on right now in the world of Helldivers 2. Expect a brand new major update this week. I'm hoping it'll be tomorrow because they did say early next week. But apart from that, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in my next video very soon. See you guys then.